Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. This morning we discussed how the process which started with karma kanda, performing rituals, which progresses to upasana, meditation, finally culminates into the self-knowledge. So Upanishad's primary subject matter is self-knowledge. For the simple reason that without that there is no fulfillment of life. The absolute fulfillment of life is when what I desire in my life is attained. And as we discussed this morning, what we are seeking, meaning what's the desire behind all the desires, is the desire for everlasting happiness. And that can be only myself. So ultimately, formally the desire for becoming something transforms into, when the real maturity comes, when the mind becomes a thinking or a contemplative mind, when it becomes sattvic, or what is called gains purity, then automatically the orientation of mind changes. And the mind which formerly had the value of becoming, achieving, enjoying, experiencing, itself now sees a need of understanding. That change takes place. And so that is the culmination of emotional maturity, or the self-growth process, or the process of self-purification. As the mind changes, the desires also change. As you know, the mind is made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. So normally rajas is predominant when there is desire for pleasure, for ego gratification, sense gratification, ego gratification. However, when in life of karma yoga, as a contributor, meaning that one discovers a value of doing things without seeking personal reward, That is, when one discovers the value of doing itself, when one starts enjoying the very process of karma or doing, when the outcome does not remain important, that's when one starts discovering the happiness or the cheerfulness from one's own self. And that's how the rajas slowly gets transformed into sattva or purity. So that is the purpose of karma yoga, performing actions nishkamata, without any self-centered motive. And then the mind has now the desire for knowledge automatically. So in response to that is the Upanishad. However, so this is the basic, primary or the main subject matter of Upanishad is the knowledge of the self. Then a question is asked, how come in this ChhandogyaUpanishad, instead of beginning the discussion with self-knowledge, how come there is a description of so many upasanas or meditations upon the self? So one is serving the self, second is meditation upon the self, third is knowledge of the self. Karma yoga means serving, call it self, call it Ishvara. Second process, meditating upon the self, when you further identify or tune up with the self. And finally, knowing the self, when you become the self. This in between the karma kanda and then this jnana kanda, these upasanas and meditations are now talked about elaborately in this Upanishad. What's the reason? So Bhashyakara raised that question. So how come is the discussion on the upasanas? So says there is a similarity between meditation and knowledge in some ways. Like slowly graduating from activity to knowledge, and between there is a stage of meditation upon the self with attributes. Knowledge is the knowledge of self without attributes. See, karma or karma yoga is worshipping the self with attributes. Then upasana is meditation upon self with attributes. And knowledge is the knowledge of self without attributes. So the attributes, slowly they become subtler and subtler, because in the karma yoga you are worshipping Ishvara as manifest to the universe. In meditation you worship Ishvara with subtler attributes. And in knowledge you know the same Ishvara which transcends attributes. So karma yoga and upasana are the stages where you worship Ishvara with attributes like omniscience, omnipotent, omnipresence, all, which slowly leads to the knowledge of Ishvara who transcends attributes. And so, what is the reason why the upasanas or meditations are talked about? Bhashyakara explains there is a similarity between this meditation and knowledge, inasmuch as both of them are mental processes. See, in karma yoga, meaning performs of karma rituals, the activities of limbs is also involved. A lot of activities there, and therefore the mind also has a vast field to roam about. Whereas when you perform meditation, then the mind's field of roaming becomes very restricted. Now it's only a mental activity, no physical activity. See, when you're cooking, for example, then the mind, even if you're concentrated in the act of cooking, so many aspects are involved of collecting and preparing vegetables and, cooking them and adding spices and all kinds of activities are there. But suppose you meditate upon the food, let us say. Meditate upon cooking, same process you carry out mentally. They say that the worship that you carry out in temple, with all the materials offered to the Lord, same thing you do mentally now. So now no material is involved, no activity is involved, no speech is involved. What is all involved is the mind. I don't know whether anybody has talked to you about the mental worship. So imagine that if you are worshipping a certain deity, imagine that deity and imagine that you are offering the bath and imagine that you are decorating. So what you are doing physically is what you do mentally. So that is mental worship. Also called upasana. And then knowing that Lord Shiva is your own self is the final thing. In each process you keep on tuning up with Shiva, But since the beginning the mind has too many activities and a lot of distractions, we cannot right away engage that mind in pursuit of self-knowledge because that requires a tremendous focus. And therefore you engage that mind in the act of worshipping what you want to ultimately identify with. So in worship also some level of identification is there because you only engage your mind in acts that are involved in worshipping the deity. Let's say Lord Shiva. Now the mind is free from all other distractions and all other activities and is only confined to all the activities required for worshipping, let's say Lord Shiva. The next step is that you restrict even the scope of the mind from all these materials and gross things to merely mental worship. Meaning now the mind is the field of the mind is restricted merely to the mind, mental plane and not physical plane, which requires more concentration, more subtlety. Mental thing is more difficult than physical things. Even when you are reciting, let's say, a name of the Lord, Om Namah Shivaya, let us say, or mantra. That's easier when you loudly chant, Om loudly. It's easier to concentrate the mind. The next step is to only murmur so that you alone can hear and nobody else can hear. In loud chanting, not only you hear, everybody hears. Second stage, you bring it to the level where you alone hear, others don't hear. And finally, you do that chanting mentally. So that's how slowly you train the mind to become subtler and more inward looking. You follow? This is training the mind. So mind that is just trained right now only to wander into all these worldly objects, you train the mind first in the worship to objects that are involved only in worship. When mind is now trained that way, then slowly you engage that mind only in the mental worship, which is much more subtle. And then you engage that mind into simply contemplating upon the knowledge of the Lord Shiva, subtlest. So this is the process that the scriptures prescribe. This is how the progress takes place. So first stage is called Karma Yoga, which involves karma, actions, rituals. Whether rituals in temple or karma or actions that you perform with the same attitude, you look upon the universe as manifestation of Ishvara. And then do that, depends on your choice. Second level is then mental worship. Third level is the contemplation upon the nature of the self that transcends all the attributes. It's easier for the mind to dwell upon attributes, dwell upon names and forms and attributes, because that is usually that mind is accustomed to doing things. And therefore, right now the mind thinks of all kinds of names and forms, then you confine it to one name and form. Worship, meditation. So, therefore, Shankaracharya explains the reason why an intermediate step of meditation is introduced is because to train that mind from karma or actions where the mind still dwells upon grosser objects. Before that mind can contemplate upon formless and attributeless, in between you provide the mind an activity where the forms are subtle, attributes are subtle, from gross to the subtle to the formless or attributeless. You follow? This is the process. And so the Upanishad thinks that this is an important and necessary process for the aspirant. And therefore, the upasana or meditation or mental worship is prescribed. The mental worship upasana is purely a mental activity, and contemplating upon self, like Shravanam, listening to the self, Mananam, reflecting upon what you listen to, Nididhyasanam, meditation is also mental activity. So in terms of mental activity, there is some similarity between the upasana meditation and the pursuit of knowledge. So that's how the mind gets trained to purely perform mental activity, and so this stage of upasana is introduced in between. So what is this meditation? They explain that you take some alambanam, some support, like we talk of the pole vault, where you take the support of the pole to climb up or jump up, and so you still, the mind needs some help for meditation, for concentration, for focusing attention, and therefore you provided some symbol, some support, and focus your attention on that. So with that introduction, now we can go to the text, and before that, let us briefly also talk about the ShantiMantrah, which is on the page 2 of your handout. The ChhandogyaUpanishad belongs to Samaveda, and usually when we begin the study, depending upon the Veda that we are studying, there is a particular ShantiMantrah or a particular prayer that is prescribed for that Veda. So the ShantiMantrah or the prayer that we have included here is what is prescribed to be recited before the beginning of the study of Samaveda. So even if they are studying recital of the Veda, they will recite the same thing. Here we are trying to study the Upanishad, which belongs to Samaveda. Therefore also it is customary to recite this prayer and then begin the study. So let me recite one sentence at a time, and please repeat after me. Om apyayantu mamangani vak pranaschakshushrotam atho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahma upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam. Mama Brahma Nirakarod. Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu. Tadatmani nirate. Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha. Te mai santu. Te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So it is customary to begin the study with a prayer. And prayer is done to Ishvara. Or it is done to different devatas or deities who represent the Ishvara. And the point of the prayer is seeking the grace of Ishvara, so that I may enjoy a mind which is composed, which is at peace, which has a focus which I require for the study. And this prayer or ShantiMantrah is recited both by the teacher as well as the students. So the teacher of Veda also prays to the Lord to be blessed with a mind which is properly disposed to impart the teaching. And the disciples pray for being blessed with a disposition wherein the mind is disposed to receive the teaching. So both the teacher and the students, both of them recite this and any other Shanti Mantra or the prayer mantra. Shanti Mantra is a mantra which is recited with Shanti or the peace of mind. Because we find that the mantra concludes with this utterance of the word Shanti 3 times. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Peace Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidevika. May there be peace within myself. May there be peace around myself. May there be peace around in the universe. This word peace is uttered 3 times, not because there are 3 kinds of peace. Peace is only one kind, peace. But there can be 3 kinds of obstacles to the peace. One obstacle can be from within my own self. There can be my body, there may be some aches and pains in the body which can disturb the peace of my mind. My mind itself may create disturbance because it's some kind of emotions are there, impulses are there, and so mind itself can become an obstacle to peace of mind. So these are the sources from within myself called Adhyatmika at the individual level. Of course, the environment, Adi Bhautika. Bhautika means that which is Kriyam Bhuta or Panchamaha Bhuta. So the universe, which is the creation of 5 elements, this elemental universe also can be a cause of disturbance of the peace of my mind. There can be all kinds of noises, all sorts of things, too hot, all kinds of things can happen. And so, loudspeakers are blaring out. In India this can happen. The road traffic is going on. That can also happen. Somebody said something to me even when I was entering the class. I'm upset. And thus, anything other than myself can become the cause of upsetting my mind or disturbing my mind. That is also possible. Adidaivika, the divine forces also can create too hot, too cold, too much wind, too much rain, etc. Or as we discover, the flights were cancelled. That's Adi Daivika. What else can you say? On that very day that we were traveling, this business, this thing was going on since quite some time, the discussion. That this couple of airlines bought some aircraft which has a Pratt and Whitney engine, which is discovered with some defect. This was reported some time ago. But now the authorities asked these people, ordered these people to ground the aircraft, having that on that day when we were traveling. Number of flights were cancelled. Many people could not attend this camp, because the flights are all cancelled. What would you say? What kind of disturbance is that? You can say only divine intervention, one way or the other. Divine intervention, worldly intervention, individual intervention. Meaning all these things can happen to disturb the peace of the mind. That just shows what all factors have to really become favorable for us to have this kind of a thing. The Brahma Vidya is not an ordinary thing at all. To come here itself, is a big thing. And then to attend the class and have a mind which is favorably disposed to listen and receive, is a big thing. And then thirdly, to have a mind that understands what is being said is yet. And having understood also, then the mind says, yes, that is right, that's right, that is even more. And then having understood, then to be able to assimilate, so all of these stages are involved. You can imagine the amount of blessing that is required for all this to take place, because I could be very well, at the doorstep and cannot enter this place. If something happens, there are people who come to, leave their, let's say, the spouses to our class. Husband comes and leaves the wife to the class, and he leaves. He doesn't attend the class. Class is over, he again comes and escorts her. Meaning that it doesn't occur to him that I should attend the class. It is not there. So I'm Swamiji, for 10 years I did this, then I started. So at least after 10 years, then something happened to him that he started attending classes. All we are saying is that it requires a tremendous amount of blessing. And the universe is divided into Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhivanishvara. In all these three manifestations should be favorable to us, for us to enjoy this peace means the right disposition of mind. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And for that this prayer is performed. So, Om says now, Apyayantu mamangani. Mama angani, mama means mind. Angani organs. Apyayantu become well developed. Well developed means what? May my limbs be favorable to me. May they enjoy the maturity. We're talking about the maturity of the mind. Here we're talking about the maturity of the whole body. All organs should be favorable to me. What are those organs? Vak, prana, chakshu, shrotram, atho, balam, indriyani, cha sarvani, mamangani, apyayantu. Apyayantu from the root pyai in the Sanskrit, which means in sense of vruddhi or growth. So it means may these limbs grow. We don't want to grow in physical sense. Or growing strength, physical strength, if that growth is required, well and good. By growth, what is meant here is that may all the limbs be favorable to me. Help me in creating the disposition of mind which is required for me to receive this knowledge from the teacher. Vak, the organ of speech. Pranaha, the organ of smell. Chakshuhu, the eyes. Shrotram, the organ of hearing. Atho, and balam, my strength, or sometimes the arms. Indriyani, the sarvani, and the rest of the sense organs. Meaning that all the organs of action and organs of perception. So Chakshuhu and Shrotram, the eyes and ears, two organs are mentioned. They represent the organs of perception. Vak, the speech is mentioned, which is organ of action. Meaning that these represent all the organs of action as well as perception. May all of them be favorable to me. It's very important that the organs are favorable to me, that they cooperate with me. So we pray for that. Why? Because every organ has a presiding deity that you may have perhaps studied in text called Tattvabodha. So, what Vedas explain is that we as an individual are able to function when we have the grace of the universe, of the different deities or devatas, the different forces, which are responsible for those respective functions. Like sun is a devata, is God, responsible for the function of seeing. Fire is a presiding deity, organ of speech. And thus for every organ there is a presiding deity. Remember what's the presiding deity of the organ of hearing? Dig Devata, the quarters. Very good. So, like that, we pray to them, be favorable. So that right now my ears are engaged into listening to what the teacher is saying, and they don't go out. Because ears can do anything, we can. Because sometimes when you're sitting in the class also, somebody's talking outside, and automatically our ears go there. What is he saying? Some sound is coming from a distance, and mind being what it is, it just wants to hear that. Here this Swami is talking loudly, instead of that, the mind gets distracted, goes there. Eyes also. It's a mind that is restless, but then manifests as activities of the sense organs. So sometimes the class is going on and somebody needs to stand up and walk out of the class for whatever reason. Somebody stands up from here and walks out. It's very interesting to see the whole class. You see that? Everybody escorts that person all the way from where it begins up to the end. The Swami is sitting, they don't look at him. So this is, or if somebody's cell phone, immediately all the ears go there, cell phone. That's the nature of our mind or sense organs. So we pray that they do not get distracted at all, at least during this 1 hour. And eyes are mentioned, and ears are mentioned. But with the eyes you see the teacher, with the ears you listen to the teacher. And speech is involved because the teacher is using speech in order to utter, and the disciple, in case of Vedic recital, the speech is a very important organ because you recite with the speech. So vak, prana. Prana can be breathing, or prana can be organ of smell or breathing. So that breathing also is very important. When you are speaking, you require strength which is provided by the prana. And thus all these sense organs, may they be favorable to me. This is one aspect of prayer. Several prayers are involved in one sentence, in one passage here. So one part of the prayer is, may this karyakana sanghata, may the sanghata or assemblage of the karya, means body, karana means sense organ of the mind, may the assemblage be favorable to me. It may be favorably disposed to serve me, help me, cooperate with me in carrying out this act of listening. Next is Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. So all of this is Brahma. Sarva means all. Says here everything is Brahman. Which Brahman? Upanishadam Brahman. Upanishadam. Upanishad ekagamyam, they say. Nanya pramana gocharam. Brahman is that which is revealed only in the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the pramanam, the valid means of knowledge for revealing Brahman. There is no other means of knowledge available to us to know Brahman. So Brahman here is qualified as Upanishadam Brahma. But Upanishada is a famous word actually. Among people who know, it comes from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tatve Upanishadam Brahma Purchami. That so Yag says Yagnavalkya, your Upanishad. I am asking you about the Brahman that is revealed by Upanishads. Do you know them? Do you know the Brahman? Do you know that Brahman? So all of this is Brahman revealed by Upanishad. Meaning what? What is this manifestation of Brahman? What is this manifestation of Ishvara? This Upanishad itself will say, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. All this indeed is Brahman. All of this is Ishvara. So this is the source of our Swamiji's famous sentence. What is Ishvara. That's what the Upanishad. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. All this indeed is Brahman, which is translated as Ishvara. All this is Ishvara. What is Ishvara? What about that? That Brahma Ishvara has an important role in my life. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam. May I not reject that Brahman, may I not deny that Brahman, may I not reject that Brahman. The denial can be in different ways. Somebody, I don't believe in God. There can be someone who says, I don't believe in God. That's what his mind tells him. And that's how the mind is. Asad neva sabhavati asad brahme devedachet. Upanishad says one who says Brahman is not, God does not exist, himself becomes non-existent. One who does not accept the existence of Ishvara in the life, himself becomes non-existent. Because what is meant by accepting existence of Ishvara? And Ishvara or God or Brahman, which is revealed in Upanishad, what is the Ishvara? When you accept Ishvara, then you know what Ishvara means? Ruler. Ish means to rule. Ishvara, one whose nature it is to rule. So we accept a ruler. Meaning that we accept a rule. We accept an order. Upanishad says, but the mighty order of the universe, the sun and the moon are placed in that location, earth and heaven also are supported where they are. The time and everything functions according to the order of this mighty, Ishvara. So by accepting Ishvara, we are also accepting an order. You follow? A law. That there is an order, there is a law in the life. You can call it moral order. Science talks about physical laws, all right. But the law that we are talking about is moral order. There is a moral order as well, which in fact governs the whole universe. So scientists may tell us that the physical laws govern the universe. But the scriptures go a step further and say the moral laws that govern even the physical laws. Why does a given thing happen? There is a reason. What's the reason? Karma is the reason. So the karma means that the moral act or immoral act that you perform is the reason. So accepting Ishvara means saying that I accept a moral order. When I accept a moral order, which means that it becomes obligate on my part to follow that moral order. To accept an order and then disobey that order, it doesn't make sense, is it not so? I know that the traffic, the speed limit is 100 kilometers, but I go at 150 anyway. That means you don't accept that order. When you accept the order, you obey the order. Is it not so? So accepting Ishvara means accepting a moral order. That means obeying that moral order, meaning that living my life based on those moral values. Then there are values in life. Then there is an order in my life. Otherwise, life is disorderly. If I do not accept this universal order or moral order, when there is nothing to guide me, when I do not accept these values to guide me, then you know who controls me? My impulses control me. The kama, krodha, something is going to control me anyway. If I do not accept the control of Ishvara, control of his moral order, then my impulses will control me. Everybody is controlled. Even the fellows who claim that I am free to do what I want also is controlled by that same impulse that I am free and I'll do what I want. So then, when the discipline is not there, then there is license, either life of discipline or life of license, which is a destructive life, a self-destructing life. In that sense, person becomes non-existent when he doesn't accept Ishvara. Non-existent as a human being. He doesn't die. He will die when the karma takes him away. But as a human being, he is no good, because as a human being, the purpose of the human embodiment is for him to grow, for him to discover happiness, ultimately progress in the direction of the fulfillment of life. Whereas when he violates the order, he is just hurting himself. So either I can help myself or I can hurt myself. Both the possibilities are there for a human being. If I am not helping myself, I will hurt myself. It's for me. So when I accept a moral order and then conduct myself in keeping with that order, I am helping myself. On the other hand, if I don't accept it, I hurt myself. So that's why Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam, all this is Upanishadam Brahma. All this is nothing but Ishvara manifest as this universe. Maham Brahman Nirakuryam says, may I not deny Brahman, may I not reject Brahman, may I not declare that there is no Brahman, there is no God. Meaning that may I not reject this moral order in my life, may I not reject these values in my life. May I not forget Ishvara, may I not disrespect Ishvara, may I always worship Ishvara, may there be always Shraddha, the faith and devotion for Ishvara. Mama Brahma Nirakarot, may Ishvara not deny me. May I not deny Ishvara, may Ishvara not deny me. Meaning, can Ishvara deny me? Can Ishvara be angry with me? This is an interesting prayer. May I not deny Ishvara, may Ishvara not deny me. What do you mean Ishvara not deny you? What do you want? Can Ishvara deny anybody? Can Ishvara say, hey, can Ishvara destroy me? Can Ishvara be can be partial to someone, cruel to me? Is it possible for Ishvara to be cruel to me? Then it says, may Ishvara not be cruel to me, may he not deny me. Meaning what? It only means that Ishvara doesn't deny anybody. The grace of Ishvara is equally available to everybody, because Ishvara is of the nature of grace or anugraha. And still I may feel that I am denied that anugraha when I close my doors. The sunlight is equally available to everybody, isn't it not? But still there can be darkness in my home if my windows are closed. Meaning that not only it requires my cooperation also for me to enjoy that sunlight. Similarly, for me to enjoy the grace of Ishvara, something is required on my part also. Otherwise, there will be no order at all. And therefore, when we say that, may Ishvara not deny me, may not reject me, may not ignore me, he doesn't ignore me. He doesn't reject me really because he is my well-wisher. But may I enjoy a frame of mind when I appreciate that Ishvara is my well-wisher. So may that fact always be in my mind. That is Ishvara. He is manifest to the universe and his Suhridam is my well-wisher. And so may I accept Ishvara in my life. May there be Shraddha, trust and Bhakti, the devotion for him. Trust in what? Trust that he is a well-wisher. That Ishvara is omniscient, omnipotent is fine. But that Ishvara is Kripalu. He is my well-wisher. He wishes well of me always. That's a matter of trust. Some people say, what do you mean Ishvara? I don't believe in it. People get turned off because again and again what they want doesn't work out. I try this, it doesn't work out. And I pray all Ishvara. Nothing happens, Swami. I've been praying Ishvara for so long, nothing happens. I don't believe. So you may lose your faith. It can happen. Sometimes life, doesn't treat somebody very favorably. It's possible. Then we conclude that Ishvara doesn't treat me favorably. Ishvara, then what kind of Ishvara is? He seems to be very cruel. He seems to be, unjust to me. People may draw these conclusions from the experience of their life. So what is meant by Shraddha is that regardless of what happens in my life, my trust in Ishvara doesn't go. It doesn't matter what he does. Whatever he does for my well-being. You accept Ishvara as what? As a sculptor. You know a sculptor? When a sculptor is sculpting, he looks very cruel. He takes a chisel and hammer in his hand and poor stone, can you imagine the kind of blows that it is receiving? But I guess stone has Shraddha, the trust in that sculpture that he means well. And that allows itself to be treated by the sculptor whichever way he gives the freedom to the sculptor. In course of time, the faith of the Shraddha works that the beauty that is there within the stone becomes manifest. So Ishvara also is like the sculptor. That's a matter of Shraddha, matter of faith. That Ishvara also is like sculptor. Meaning whatever difficulties come in my life, whatever blows come in my life are all meant to shape me, not to hurt me. A blow can hurt me, can shape me, is it not so? But understand that for Ishvara to work on me, he requires my cooperation also. The stone always cooperates with the sculptor. But I am a live stone and I can turn my face away and then that blow may come in the wrong place. If the stone turns the face away, then the blow can break it. And so if I turn my face away, I deny Ishvara. It is possible that those blows may hurt me. And therefore, may I never lose faith in Ishvara. May I give the freedom to Ishvara, as called Swami, give him the benefit of doubt. Sometimes you don't understand what is happening. Why is it happening? Makes no sense. It's wrong, unjust. Ishvara must have a plan for me. What plan? I don't know. And so, more you have this Shraddha in Ishvara, more he tests you, usually. He is the tough taskmaster. He always stands before you smiling and looks like, he's a tough fellow. Lord Krishna is very tough. He's always smiling, or Dakshinamurti or Lord Shiva, whoever, But in the beginning they smile to attract you, and later on they take you to task. So if bhakta or a devotee is the one who sticks to Ishvara regardless of what happens. You know the story of these footprints on the sand, where this man was once a devotee of Bhagwan. The God was once dreaming, and he had a conversation with God. He says, Lord, you promised me that you'll always be with me. Particularly when I am in trouble, you will always be with me. Now what I find is there are two pairs of footprints, meaning that the footprint earlier is mine, following footprint is yours. I see that. Yes, that you are with me. But when the real trouble comes in my life, I find one footprint only. How did you leave me? You left me when I really needed you? He says, no, I carried you on my shoulder. That's the story. So this is a faith. And so that is what is meant by may I not deny Ishvara. It's not easy to accept Ishvara. It's easy to accept when things are going on well. People say, Swami, I believe in God. That's good. You're doing favor to God by believing in Him. So how come you believe in God? Swamiji, whatever I desire He does. So as long as God acts as my servant, so long I believe in Him. And if He refuses to do that, then I'm shaken up. So may I not deny Ishvara. May Ishvara not deny me. May I not deny Ishvara. The second part of the prayer, very important part. Third part of the prayer is, so may there be no mutual rejection. May not reject Ishvara. May Ishvara not reject me. Meaning that I may always be in harmony with Ishvara. Always Shraddha, the trust must be there. Devotion may be there. Let Ishvara come in my life. Or Swami said, bring Ishvara into one's life. How much you want Him to come into your life? So He completely pervades your life. More of Ishvara, less of I. So how much of Ishvara you want? So that there is no I remaining there. That's what I want. And therefore, may there be no spurning of mine or Ishvara's. Then the third part of the prayer is, Tadatmanindriyate upanishadsu dharmas te mai santu. Tad atmani nirate. Rati means being devoted to. Rati means love, in fact, really. So therefore, nirate. So one that is nirantaram premam kurvati, I who is constantly expressing my love for Atma, for the self. So how do you express your love for the self? By it will come. But this is a time of changing, I think, there. From one phase they change to in the power plant. They turn around. There are timings. So at that time, temporarily the power outage is there, and then it comes back. It's a matter of Shraddha. Shraddha in the power supply and Shraddha in Swami Shuddhanandaji also. That he has the equipment, the standby generator and everything. There it is. So Rati means prema or love. Nirate, one who loves the self in totality. Nirantaram prema kurvati, one who constantly loves the self. What do you mean love the self? Everybody loves the self. But then what is meant by love of the self here is one who is engaged in knowledge of the self. That's a real love. First, you serve the self. Second, you meditate on the self. Third, you know the self. All of these are nothing but states of love towards the self. So here I, who is constantly engaged in expressing love for the self, meaning engage in Shravanam, listening to scriptures, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Now says, Ye Upanishatsu dharmaha te mai santu. The dharma, the virtues that are taught in Upanishads. So some of you may be familiar with the Upanishad, may know. Shanto dantaha uparataha titikshuhu shraddhavitto bhutva atmani atmanam pashyati. Upanishad says, who is the one who sees the self in oneself? Shantaha, one enjoys shama, the tranquility of the mind. Dantaha dhamma means what? Dhamma means what? Control of the sense organs. Uparataha, uparati means what? The abidance of the mind, withdrawal, abidance of the mind, inward looking of the mind, inwardness of the mind. Titiksha, forbearance. Shraddha, implicit trust in the words of the teacher as well as the scriptures. Samadhanam, the focus or concentration of the mind. So these are the virtues the Upanishads teach. In fact, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. First is viveka, the discrimination between self and non-self, etc. Vairagya, dispassion. Samadhi, Shatka Sampati, Mumukshutvam, a keen desire for moksha. So these are the virtues the Upanishads teach as virtues required for a seeker of knowledge. You certainly require the virtues in terms of being honest, non-violence, truthfulness. Those virtues are there. The ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. Heard of this? Ahimsa, non-violence. Satya, truthfulness. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, non-indulgence. Aparigraha, non-hoarding. So these virtues are taught, of course. They are taught for everybody. The virtues that are specifically taught for the one who is pursuing knowledge are Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. So may those virtues also reside in me. I, who is engaged in the pursuit of knowledge, in me, may those virtues which are prescribed by the Upanishad as a requirement or as a preparation for the pursuit of knowledge, may they abide in me. So, beautiful prayer covering all aspects. That first, this karya vikana sanghata, may this body, mind, sense complex become favorable to me so that I can do shravanam, listening, mananam, nididhyasanam, meditation. So, for that, the favor of this body, mind, sense complex is required. May Ishvara be favorable to me, that may always remember that what is Ishvara. And therefore, may not disrespect Ishvara. If when I disrespect you, I'm anybody for that matter, I'm disrespecting Ishvara, is it not so? I've forgotten that you are Ishvara, manifestation of Ishvara. When we forget, then we deny, we disrespect. So whenever we disrespect anything as a matter of fact, not only anybody but anything, disrespect nature, disrespect water, disrespect anything, is all disrespect of Ishvara. So imagine, awareness of Ishvara requires what? Respecting everything. When can I do that? When my impulses are always kept under control. When I get angry, I disrespect. When I become selfish, disrespect. Jealous, disrespect. So all those impulses may be under control so that I respect Ishvara's manifestation. And then may all these virtues taught in Upanishads be in me. So of all the 10 Shanti Mantra, this is my favorite mantra, There are 10 Shanti Mantras. I mean, everybody has their own favorite, I guess, but then my favorite mantra is this one. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. So this is a prayer, invoking the grace of Ishvara. At the individual level, sense organs, etc., all this is Ishvara. At the elemental level, and by pursuit of knowledge, also the divine level, may Ishvara always be favorable to me. Om peace, may my enjoy peace. May I remain free from disturbances coming from my individual self, elemental world, or divine forces. So with the Shanti Mantra now, we can begin our study of the text from tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamandaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmede Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.